Saint Aloysius Gonzaga, S.J. patron of youth and model of purity and compassion. This reflection is prepared by Father Abe Francis, pastor at St. Jude Church, Grand Rapids, Michigan, USA. Birth and noble background. Saint Aloysius Gonzaga was born on March 9, 1568, in the castle of Castiglione del Stiviere near Mantua in northern Italy. He was the eldest son of Ferrante Gonzaga, a powerful and ambitious nobleman who hoped his son would become a great soldier and continue the family's military legacy. From an early age, however, Aloysius displayed a spirit completely contrary to worldly ambitions, religious awakening, and fasting. By the age of 7, Aloysius had begun to pray fervently and practice acts of self-denial. At age 9, during a visit to Florence with his family, he read spiritual books that deeply moved him. He dedicated himself to a life of chastity, fasting, and prayer, choosing to imitate the saints rather than nobles and soldiers. He fasted regularly, gave up worldly pleasures, and even refused to look women in the face to preserve his vow of purity. By 11, he had already decided to consecrate himself entirely to God. Vocation and entry into the Society of Jesus. Despite his father's fierce opposition, Aloysius persisted in his desire to enter religious life. After a prolonged struggle, his father finally relented, and at age 17, Aloysius renounced his inheritance and title and entered the Society of Jesus Jesuits in Rome in 1585. There, he lived a life of intense prayer, obedience, and service. He studied philosophy and theology, but his fragile health, weakened by years of fasting and penance, often kept him bedridden. Yet Aloysius bore his suffering joyfully, seeing it as a participation in the Passion of Christ. Accomplishments and heroic charity. Although young, Aloysius inspired fellow seminarians and Jesuit superiors with his deep spirituality and love for God. He practiced strict asceticism, engaged in meditative prayer for hours each day, and was known for his profound devotion to the Eucharist and the Blessed Virgin Mary. In 1591, a plague broke out in Rome. While many fled the city, Aloysius volunteered to serve in a Jesuitron hospital for the dying. Despite his weak constitution, he nursed the sick, fed the hungry, and comforted the dying, tending to their needs with Christ-like compassion. It was during this service that he contracted the plague himself. Death and canonization. After weeks of suffering, Aloysius Gonzaga died on June 21, 1591, at just 23 years of age. He died while uttering the name of Jesus with a peaceful and radiant expression on his face. Many witnesses felt they were in the presence of a saint. He was beatified in 1605 by Pope Paul V and canonized in 1726 by Pope Benedict XIII, who declared him the patron saint of youth and later, also the patron of students and AIDS patients due to his compassionate care for plague victims. Legacy and lessons from his life. Aloysius Gonzaga is remembered as a model of youthful holiness, heroic charity, and unwavering commitment to purity and self-sacrifice. Though he lived a short life, his intense love for God and others continues to inspire people of all ages. Lessons from the life of Saint Aloysius Gonzaga. 1. Holiness is possible at any age. Aloysius reminds us that sanctity is not reserved for old-age young people. 2. Are called to heroic virtue. 2. Purity and self-discipline lead to spiritual freedom. His life of chastity and fasting was not a denial of joy, but a deeper surrender to divine love. 3. Courageous love means serving the suffering. Aloysius showed that true faith leads to concrete acts of mercy, even at great personal risk. 4. Obedience and humility are paths to greatness. Though born a noble, Aloysius considered the will of God more valuable than earthly power or wealth. 5. Contemplation fuels action. His deep prayer life strengthened him for the most challenging moments of service and suffering. A question for reflection. In a world that often celebrates power, pleasure, and fame, what am I doing to grow in purity of heart, humility, and love for others, especially the suffering and forgotten? Saint Aloysius Gonzaga, pray for us.